This is section 1.4, part 1, where we are going to look at rewriting formulas. Alright, so when you rewrite a formula, all you're essentially doing is moving terms from one side of the equation to the other. Right, and so in this problem, it says solve the formula f equals 9/5 c plus 32 for c. Alright, so what this formula is the formula for Fahrenheit. Alright, so we can see F stands for Fahrenheit, C stands for Celsius. Once we successfully get C by itself, that's our goal, or solve the formula for C, we will then find the equivalent temperature for 86 degrees Fahrenheit, or the temperature of 86 degrees Fahrenheit in Celsius. So let's first solve the formula for C, or get C alone. So I'm going to take F equals 9/5 c plus 32. And I'm going to subtract 32 from both sides. Alright, because I want to move 32 over. It's my first step in getting c by itself. F minus 32 is just that, F minus 32, and that's equal to 9/5 c. Next, I want to detach the fraction 9/5 from the variable c, and if you remember in previous videos, in order to do that, we're going to multiply both sides by the reciprocal of the fraction. So the reciprocal of 9/5 is 5/9. So I'm going to multiply both sides by 5/9. So the 9's here cancel, as well as the 5's. So we're really just left with our c. 5/9 times f is 5/9 f minus 5/9 times 32. Alright, 9 and 32 don't share a common factor, unfortunately. So we're going to say 5 times negative 32 is negative 160 over 9. So our formula is 5/9 f minus 160 over 9 equals c. This is acceptable, but you also notice there's a common denominator. What's the denominator in both cases? 9. Alright, so you can also use this formula. Take the numerator, which is 5f minus 160, and put it over the common denominator of 9, which is c. Either of those works. Alright, they're both the same. I'll accept both. So, we've successfully put c by itself. We've solved for c. Now, we want to go back up and do the second part of the problem and find the equivalent temperature for 86 degrees Fahrenheit. So essentially what that's saying is F equals 86. So I'm going to take this equation and we'll say 5f minus 160 over 9 equals c. What does f equal? 86. So I'm going to substitute 86 in for f. So 5 times 86 minus 160 over 9 equals c. And I'm going to evaluate these. Alright, so when you have a fraction like this, think of the entire numerator as being in parentheses, and the entire denominator is being in parentheses. So, I'll put that in red. We really want to evaluate the entire numerator and denominator independently before we do the final division problem. So, 5 times 86, what does that give us? 5 times 86 gives us 430. So we see we have 430 minus 160 over 9 equals c. 430 minus 160 gives us 270 over 9. And 270 divided by 9 gives us 30. So c in this case equals 30 degrees. So 86 degrees Fahrenheit is the same thing as 30 degrees Celsius. Let's look at one more formula. Alright, so this is number 2. We see solve the formula C equals 2 pi r for r. Then we're going to find the radius of a circle. With a circumference of 88 inches. So what we have here is the formula for circumference. C is circumference, r is radius, and pi is an irrational number, 3.14, and it goes on forever, which we know. Alright, so we're not going to evaluate pi, we're just always going to keep pi in our problem. So the first things first, solve the formula for r. So we've got C equals 2 pi r, and this is a nice easy one. Alright, notice 2, pi, and r are all connected with what operation? It's multiplication. So I'm going to detach 2 pi in one step. Alright, I'm going to do the opposite operation and just divide both sides by 2 pi. So 2 pi divided by 2 pi is 1, so that cancels. And so we see C divided by 2 pi is equal to r. And just that quickly, we've solved the formula for circumference, and it's now solved for r, or for the radius. And that allows us to easily solve the next part of the problem. It says find the radius of a circle with a circumference of 88 inches. Well, we know C is the circumference, so C equals 88 inches. Right, so I'm going to use my new formula where C over 2 pi equals r. So I'm going to substitute in 88 for C. So I've got 88 over 2 pi equals r. And notice 2 goes into 88 44 times. So we're left with 44 over pi, and we'll call those inches, equals r. So the radius in this problem is 44 pi over r. If you did evaluate that using your calculator, alright, you would get a number very close to r is roughly, or about, 14 inches. Alright, but this is perfectly acceptable. This answer is a little more accurate.